harness the power of a mind flare, you say? Why, I think Larian Studios has you covered. They just dropped Community Update 22, which honestly came as a bit of a surprise to me because I thought that Sven had said that they were done with the community updates, but apparently we've got one more, and there are some. I would say there mostly this is known information, but this also confirms a few things that people had questions about, and it does give us one new piece of information, at least new for me and people who might not have played the live game at the showcase panel from hell. So let's go through this here. It says here, wield the power of a mind flare. It says when we announced and launched BG3 back in 2020 with the early access, we ran with the line that mysterious abilities are awakening inside of you, drawn from a mind flare parasite planted deep within your brain. And since we never really expanded on what that meant mechanically. However, now they're diving into it and saying that while the creatures are a source of great power, all that they offer comes with the costs. And as with the parasite's hosts, you have to make a choice. Do you resist the powers and corruption, or do you embrace them while risking your mind, body, and soul? And it says Illithid Powers are a hidden skill tree used to enhance the command over your newfound Illithid capabilities. Those who wish to harness the parasite's power must find more of these parasites throughout the Forgotten Realms. Some are located inside jars and in pools of brine, while others within schools of the infected, and then you must consume them. And this is where you get this window, which I've never seen before. Apparently, this is your Illithid power window. And this is, it says, well, I mean, they're only getting to see a couple of these. One is called Free Cast. It's a toggleable passive feature, which says you've discovered a marvelous adaptability within yourself. Spell slots, charges, and similar resource costs for your next action or spell are removed and refreshes after a short or long rest. And then it says over on the top right, they have 9 Illithid potentials available. So I guess does that mean that there's 9 tadpoles to find? Looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's more spots on this than just 9. So I don't know if that means there's only 9 to find and you have to choose how to place those, or if 9 is what they've already uncovered. I don't know. First time I've seen this screenshot, but it does point to the fact that we have Illithid powers, which is cool. Which we already knew you were going to get, but now we're getting confirmation and a screenshot. Oh, I guess I should have read further. It says each parasite consumed unlocks one new Illithid power within a skill tree of 25 potential powerful mind flare inspired abilities, completely separate to the options you have when you level up in traditional sense, divided into 5 branches themed around manipulation, health restoration, psionics, and abilities that can inflict immense damage and torment enemies or weaken them over time. Some abilities can be used to control those around you, pushing them to say things in dialogue they would otherwise not. Others enable you to with the power to push and pull enemies like ragdolls during combat. You can even become a displacer beast, which is actually kind of cool. It says the deeper you go through the tree, the more powers you'll discover, but nothing comes without a cost. While your companions can also consume parasites to gain their powers, not everyone in your party agrees with it, and their perception of you undergoes a significant shift based on what you're doing with this ability, which becomes more and more complicated, but we don't want to spoil it. Also announcing Baldur's Gate 3 Twitch drops. I wish they would have the audience interactivity on YouTube, but it's on Twitch at the very least. And you can earn exclusive BG3 loot while simultaneously supporting your favorite streamers. Doesn't apply to me because I stream on YouTube. But that's for those of you who stream on Twitch or who watch people who play on Twitch. That's out there for those of you who want to know. It says last week we unveiled our third and final villain of Baldur's Gate 3, joining J.K. Simmons and Jason Isaacs. Or in the red, voiced by the ever iconic Maggie Robertson, but the cast is much bigger than you've seen in some of our recent trailers. Today, we're shining a spotlight on our extended cast. Amelia Tyler, who narrates Baldur's Gate 3, returning from Divinity Original Sin 2. Brian Bowles, who plays Scaritus Fell. Dun, 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 also from Divinity Original Sin 2. Actor Vinegar Strokes from West End Musical. Everyone's talking about Jamie. Plays Lucretius, the proud leader of an extraplanar circus. Sophia Nomvete from Rings of Power. Captain Grizzly. And then Doug Cockle, the void of Geralt of Rivia, is coming to the cast, apparently, along with Abigail Thorne of the Philosophy Tube, among many, many more. Well, that's cool. We're going to get a little bit of The Witcher in our Baldur's Gate 3 Never go wrong with that, ever, ever, ever. Um, I love what they talk about here with respec because so many people are like, I'm going to respec my origin characters to all these different things. And I've told people in live streams, it's like, understand though that they have integral storylines. And if you change what they are too much, that's going to impact how that potentially works out. And they actually address that here. Um, in Baldur's Gate 3, you can obviously respec not only your chosen class, your protagonist, but also that of your companions and pre-authored origin characters. But keep in mind that certain origin stories are closely intertwined with the character's respective classes. If you're opting for a non-cleric Shadowheart or a Will without his Warlock pact, this will influence your roleplay options and dialogues and the overall narrative for these characters. That being said, their stories will then be yours to create instead. We also get this cool graphic, which I already shared 3 or 4 days ago when it first went up on the patcher, so we've already covered this. But launch times obviously start on Thursday at 8 a.m. Los Angeles time, and this is where we get the next very important piece of information because this had been sort of rumored and talked about, and some people had confirmed. I know Wolfhard had mentioned it, but now we're getting official confirmation from Larian Studios. The full release of the game weighs in at 122 gigabytes. There is no preloading. So that means whether you're doing GOG or Steam, the launch times listed above are the times that the game becomes available to download. Some people asked me during the stream today, when am I going to be starting my Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough? And the answer to that is whenever it finishes downloading. I'm going through GOG. I didn't have any problems when early access hit, but that was only like 50 or 60 gigs. This is going to be 166 gigs, and we don't know what the bandwidth looks like, what kind of choke points they're going to have, if anything's going to break because so many people are downloading it. I don't know any of that. The only thing I can say is as soon as it's up, I will be live. I'm typically live every day from 11 a.m. to 1 or 2 p.m. The game goes live at 9 a.m. my time. I don't know that it will download 160 gigs or whatever it is, 120 gigs. I don't know if it'll download 120 gigs in 2 hours. It might, but I'm in the boonies and I have a decent internet connection, but you never know. And it doesn't really depend on my internet. It depends on the infrastructure for Steam and GOG. So keep that in mind. It says here that your early access saved games are not compatible at launch. It's probably worth it. It says so much has changed. It's really worth it to just start fresh. So probably do a full uninstall of everything, including save files. CrossSave Compatibility, it talks here. This is going to be between PS5, PC, and Steam Deck, as well as Mac. Says you'll be able to upload your saves via the cloud to your Larian account and continue right where you left off with you on a different platform, which is really cool. You can play on your Steam Deck. They said they're aiming for Steam Deck's verification by August 3rd, so it's not actually confirmed yet. You'll be able to avail full controller support and split screen will be disabled on Steam Deck. Cool. Now they've got some information on 4K system requirements and ultrawide support, which doesn't apply to me, but for those of you who are into that kind of stuff and do the 4K ultrawide, you can look at it there. Talk about romantic alchemy. It says origin characters can find love without you, and I'm pretty sure I've seen Shadowheart and Gale making comments, and they even show them in the screenshot here. It says even if you fail to connect with some of your companions on a romantic level, that doesn't mean that they won't find love elsewhere. Origin characters can romance other origins as long as they're not the primary character controlled by the player. So if I'm playing Gale, it won't happen. But if Gale and Shadowheart are independent of me, that can potentially happen. What's up, Sammy? You want to come over here while I'm recording news? No? I'm just gonna relax. Meow, meow. Kitty cat. All right, untangling dialogue. So this is one of the areas where I've not complained per se, but I have made comments about how it works in multiplayer. And we do have some clarification here, but I do have to let a cat out. So let me go ahead and talk while I let him out. Come on, Sam. Um, I've talked about how in multiplayer, I've complained that when you enter into a conversation with somebody, your group mates don't get prompted. And we kind of wish there was going to be some sort of a Star Wars Old Republic vibe where everyone get prompted when you enter in a conversation. But they make a statement here which gives me an insight into why they've chosen to do it the way they're doing it, which is very interesting. And it's actually towards the bottom here. in terms of listening in. It says in multiplayer, you have the option to set certain dialogues to private so your teammates won't be able to listen in on them, which is perfect for romance or betrayal. So they kind of want you operating as though you are independent members of an adventuring party, and you can choose whether or not to tell your party members of what just happened in a conversation or not, which is very interesting. Um, Baldur's Gate 3 allows you to look back at dialogue history when you're in conversation, and we can confirm that you don't need to worry about forgetting what you've said because you can look back and get a sense of where you're at. It's a neat feature that pops up in the commentary a lot, so we decided to highlight it for those who haven't yet jumped in. On the topic of Doom and Chatter, how do conversations work in a party of four? So we lay out some scenarios that explain how it's handled. Typically, the character who initiates a conversation in both single player and multiplayer hosts the conversation. In multiplayer, the other players witness the conversation by clicking on the appropriate icon or character. You get the ear dialogue, which will allow them to vote on the host character's choice in dialogue. The host is free and often right to ignore them. But what if I enter into a conversation with a character who has the wrong proficiencies for the choices I'm dealt? That depends on a variety of things. Which we already know about. A lot of times it's proxy. Whoever's closest will get the dialogue prompt. Um, okay, so our dialogue systems are designed to feel organic as they would in real life. While there's agency in life, there's also agency in Baldur's Gate 3 where situations are more fateful and you have your wits and your proficiencies to untangle them. But of course, having the option to hide your conversations means that your party members, if you're playing multiplayer, might not always know what's going on, and you might choose to keep that from them if you're role playing in that manner. So, the big thing here, everybody, is Baldur's Gate 3 PC global launch happening with the schedule posted above. I would assume this is going to be the last community update because the game is out in just a couple of days, so we're getting ready to go live. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon here on my channel so that you never miss an update. I'm live every day from 11 a.m. Central onwards, usually about 2 to 3 hours, and of course, every afternoon at 5 p.m. we do a big bad boss fight. Lots more Baldur's Gate 3, lots more Starfield, Phantom Liberty, and all sorts of other stuff happening on the channel. Don't forget to check out the Discord. Links are down below, and I'll see everybody in the next video or live stream. Peace!